Okay, I'm ready to talk about thanks to them. Take a deep breath and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. How are you doing? What's happening to my lighting? This isn't relaxing at all. What's happening to my lighting? This is doing the opposite of what I want. This will be relaxing. We will have fun. After several attempts, I managed to get through it without screaming, so now I've heard people saying names. And I have time to reflect on eyes changing color. I wanted to start the video with "What up, weirdos?" but the goal is to not upset myself. We're just gonna stay calm and relaxed and just talk about the Owl House. I want to make more relaxing, listen while you're doing stuff, study to, chill to content. I've been screaming and crying a lot the last couple days, so I just want everything to be chill. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Bill. So this is part 2 of my journey around the new Owl House episode, season 3, episode 1, thanks to them on the channel, created by Disney Terrace. Bill, are you good? Created by Dana Terrace. I just wanted to drop part 1 as quickly as I could. I was having a real hard time being able to rewatch it and take notes and have a complete thought. I took a little time, came back, and was able to just quiet weep, which is important because I screamed over a lot of stuff the first time I watched it. If you want my initial reactions, thoughts, and responses, that'll be in part 1. That's in the Owl House playlist linked in the description. Speaking of the description, there's also a card there. They'll send to resources for social awareness and education, mental health and crisis lines, Trevor Project resources, things like that. Should you or someone you know need them, like and subscribe. My merch store is there, thethirdbill.com, as well as my gaming channel where I stream twice a week, Bill Chill Gaming. Enough plugging myself. Let's just get into it. I already had to transpose my notes because I could not read most of them. Thanks to them is the first of 3 specials for season 3 of the Owl House. We pick up literally with the end of King's Tide. Luce, Amity, Gus, Willow, Hunter stuck in the human realm as the Collector begins to terraform the Boiling Isles to play the Owl House with King. Bellows is also there in the form of Jam. It's a nice reminder of what happened. It also creates this kind of looming sense of dread. We see everybody go to Luce's house. You see them helping Luce's mom, Camilla, in the kitchen, and it's nice to feel this kind feeling of normalcy. There's kitchens in the Boiling Isles, so it's nice to see everyone kind of take a moment to feel normal. We were kind of licking our wounds. We're kind of soft recapping with Camilla, who's trying to understand what happened. We also start to touch on pretty candidly with Hunter and Luce's image of themselves at this point in time. The confusion that they're feeling about the uncertainty of the future. Hunter's focused on the worry of him being a Grimwalker and a clone of possibly a witch hunter. Philip's brother Caleb. Name confirmed. That was fun. Especially Luce blaming herself for the events of everything, being tricked by Philip, Bellows, in Elsewhere and Elsewhen. It kind of starts to touch on the main theme of the episode, which is not only forgiveness, but forgiving yourself. Something that's going to hit on the most with Luce, Hunter, and Camilla. Everybody does get time to shine, but these are the 3 characters who go through the most change from beginning and end of the 45-minute episode, and I appreciate kind of segmenting them in that way. There's still a lot of nice moments with Amity, Gus, and Willow, and V. We also get this ominous hint of the Bellows scoop, always on the move. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what he can and cannot do in this jelly jam form. It seems like he can take control of animals. Is it reminiscent of taking control of Hunter because he's a Grimwalker? I don't think he can possess people. I feel like he would have done something like that by now. Jumping ahead a little bit, it makes me wonder if that's an implication of Hunter's form taking in Flapjack at the end. His eyes changed from red to brown. A lot of people brought up that I didn't talk about it, and it's like, no, I was too busy screaming and crying. His eyes change from red to brown when Flapjack, we'll say, assists him to keep it light. It makes me wonder if he's technically no longer a Grimwalker, because that's one of the things that's illustrated how you know you're a Grimwalker is the red eyes. That's in the little recipe book. I wonder if that's part of Bellos's jam magic. It's on specific creatures or something, or maybe that's just easier. I'm hopeful that the implication is he can't do that to people, because there is an element now moving forward. Will he do that again to the Collector, to Luce, to Ida? Ideally not Rain. Poor Rain. They've been mind controlled enough. It makes me wonder if there's a relevance there. Did Flapjack's sacrifice do more than just heal the wounds and help him get back up and solidify his self-doubt and fear turning into confidence to fight, if it can protect him? The next thing I wrote is the new intro hero bangs. It hurts not having all the characters there. Yes, we see Hootie in some Lumity pics. Their absence is definitely felt, and you see anything from in the background of pictures to Luce's drawings to everybody's drawings. They're drawing their family. They've kind of written themselves I'm okay cards. Gus drew his dad. Yeah, we're fine, Willow. And they're smiling and happy and surrounded by hearts. And then Amity also draws every blight in the family portrait but her mom. I like those moments. I like referencing people in the Boiling Isles and the fact that we never jump back to it, keeping us just as tense and uncertain as our characters. I really love that. I love the coming out scene for Luce, as well as introducing Amity as her girlfriend. And I've talked about it before, but throughout the rest of the episode, Camila's wearing a pride pin, puts in a lot of work to support and be there, and it's very beautiful. I also love seeing Camila be kind and affectionate to everyone, but always kind of have a tender spot for V, reestablishing the relationship that must have built there these last couple of months while they've been living together. When V has her new outfit and stuff, Camila oh, it's so cute, runs to hug, but she's still smiling and happy when everyone else is trying on stuff. Is the Hunter Flapjack onesie just there to be cruel? Doing that balancing act, I think it's not only very human but incredibly effective to try to have fun in the face of all this adversity and uncertainty. It's not like we can jump right back right away. Let's not be miserable every second. Why send Luce to school? The English class is incredibly important. I really like that scene. There's a meta relationship between the characters and the story that they're in and us, the audience, and the events of the story. Anything from Hunter identifying with the clone character in Cosmic Frontiers to Luce not wanting this story. What's the point of a hero's welcome if you cause so much pain? The hero's plight being mentioned in the English class and how it's destiny versus choice. And I think that's a big constant throughout any good storytelling, but especially the Owl House. I like seeing our main characters struggle with the type of story that you're in without breaking the fourth wall. We spend a lot of time with her uncertainty, and I like feeling it also with the Egg Palisman. Without aging her up and giving her a child, it kind of shows you a generational anxiety between Camila never knowing what to do right by Luce, and the input, we'll say, from others on what to do to help Luce. The intention of wanting to do right by her daughter never went away despite the awful exchanges and interactions, especially with that principal. Then we see Luce start to carry that with her with the egg and the palisman. Will you even hatch? Have I ruined your life already too? It's an interesting way of articulating that. Very Encanto. While Luce is worrying about her impact, we also see Hunter start to struggle with finding himself out of the Emperor's Coven. The thing he misses most, knowing who he was within the Emperor's Coven, and he starts to explore his passions. There's a sewing machine in the basement. Darius was going to teach him how to sew. Beautiful callback to that relationship, as well as seeing him start to reach out, try things. He's introduced to the Galactic Frontier books with Gus, and they get super into that fandom and that world. Camila starts to freak out when they bring up wanting to be Galactic Frontier characters for Halloween, and there's a box in the closet marked Manny's cosplay. Yeah, Manny's Circuit cosplay, version 3. So they've worked on it several times. However, this closet is filled with anything from memorabilia to additional cosplay to an octopus that's come up a couple of times. Why would you throw another animal possibility into the mix for Luce's Palisman? But I love it. There's also 2 coffee tumblers, I guess, because it's Disney. There's also multiple convention laminates. I think it was a shock to her because this was something they both shared. It's interesting because we're kind of summing up to how Camila seems to, in the retrospective given to us in this episode, she won't throw away the stuff, but she won't leave any of it out, and mentioning it to her obviously gets very overwhelming because, as we learn throughout this story, Luce's parents are both weirdos. They're nerds. It's interesting kind of seeing denying it and not letting go. The more I think about it, it keeps me trapped, and I think that's kind of where, especially Camila, where that family is. Have we ever established why Luce has a bunk bed? Because that's upsetting. Because we do spend a lot of time being reintroduced to and expanding on Luce's mother, Camila. It's really captivating. We see her not only begin to process and learn from her mistakes, she's also the one who shares that lesson with Luce as she begins to do it herself. We've seen her not only embrace the things that make Luce unique as a person, but we also see her engage in the memories of the events that led up to Luce leaving for the Boiling Isles. I like the concept of seeing our person in a position of not only adulthood but authority, right? Someone's parent, an established good parent at that. Seeing her reflect on what transpired leading up to and through the pilot, being the voice of it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn, improve, and grow from it, and then being the embodiment of it. She's listening to everybody. She believes in the magic. There's no convincing her. The proof's been in the pudding, mind you, but still moving forward, she takes everyone into her home. She wants to figure out what they like to eat, what apple blood is, helping them make sure that they have somewhere to sleep, clean clothes. She's clipping coupons too, so there's also a reality sunk into this fantasy, which is key to the Owl House, fantasy mixing with reality. And then as Camila's reflecting on Luce's childhood and the events leading up to and through the pilot, especially with the principal and that pamphlet, and we start to see the lesson unfold of forgiving yourself and the atonement that can be found in improvement. Jumping ahead a little bit to prove the point, it's the same concept when Luce talks to Amity about Philip becoming Bellows by giving him the light glyph, thinking that she's just helping a fellow human, not knowing who he's going to be or who he is. Amity's response being in how Luce's mistakes not being reflective in her consistent actions. She still fights for them. She still advocates for them. Join the rebellion, rally the cause. She wants to fix this, improve the world. Technically, I guess you did help. You didn't do it knowingly, and you're striving to improve and correct that. That's also felt here with Camila, and especially with Hunter. Much like how Flapjack is getting increasingly concerned with Hunter, little do we all know he's possessed by Bellows at this point, or becoming possessed. Nobody blames him for being possessed by Bellows. It's not like he took out a Ouija board and was like, The forgiveness comes so easily because it's not consistent with your actions. I love that for these three characters, and that feels like the overall theme for me of thanks to them. Forgiving yourself and the true feeling of atonement in that. It's also found in Camila's constant growth and understanding, reflecting on Luce's childhood. And as we, the audience, see how Camila's love and support for Luce has been unconditional and consistent, Camila starts to understand how listening to the other people and being worried about doing the wrong thing has tampered with Luce's trust in that support being there. Those are mistakes. And again, the atonement coming from that not being consistent. You start to see the threads connect between stop living in fantasy land, the reason why she's able to be sucked in by these suggestions, her at first glance aversion to fantasy is really her own negation of wanting to interact with stories and nerddom and fandoms, because that's what's painful for her as well. So you can kind of see how her own grief and pain and negligence to her feelings begot this negligence to Luce's situation as well. And it doesn't absolve anybody of anything. It doesn't make that pain go away, but understanding and improving is promising of a better future. And there's also tons of fun, which I really do appreciate. I like seeing the Hexside squad interact with the human world, trying to ask giraffes for help, but then also begets that feeling of seeing a happy family at the zoo and everyone being homesick and hurt. That's a very real thing. I myself have grown my entire life with jealousy of the traditional nuclear family unit. Feels very real how it just kind of hits you like a flash in the pan. There's also a scene of them kind of looking suspiciously at the statue, the Whittabane brothers, and there's the Witchy store, and the Witchy store sells Hexus Hold'em cards. Speaking of the statue, I also love starting to feel this legend of the Whittabanes. I kind of like this sense that I'm getting that their power and history in the town is kind of more of like an urban legend, Bigfoot Mothman kind of thing at this point. It's the topic of the guided tour and the hayride that Masha does. They kind of give me the impression through the legend, and then kind of they laugh it off at the end and do the Tumblr too long didn't read. Big bro got a witchy girlfriend and little bro got jealous. Maybe it's more of a gift shoppy kind of story at this point, and especially when we learn, speaking of Masha, we go back to that museum from yesterday's lie. Jacob, the most handsomest chosen one, he's been fired for altering the exhibits. In the corner with his standee of himself, you do also see the witch statue. That really sticks out to me because I still can't help but wonder if we're not being given the story of the Whittabanes. I think there's still pieces missing from that story. It's when we get that shot of local hero, humanity's last and most handsome hope. The taxidermy still on the wall. That still feels like part of the display. We have Jerks Who Don't Believe Me being the barista who banned Marilyn, to a statue of the witch. And Masha says that he was fired after he started making edits to the exhibits. Something tells me that standee isn't the only thing, nor the cardboard sign. Again, why is the witch statue in the corner? There's a part of me that wonders if he's been kind of taking his own version of history. I'm still interested to see why this statue of the witch is in the corner just chilling there. Could just be a nice little piece of set decorum, but it makes me wonder if his version of the story is wrong and has incorporated it into Masha's spiel on the hayride. There's the reveal the witch's name Evelyn, which is great if that's the case. I've always been pro Clawthorne. I don't know if I want them to have been in a romantic relationship. Regardless, I just like the idea of Clawthorns have a history of helping humans when they show up in the Boiling Isles. That's all I really care about. Romantic relationship would be interesting. Did they have children? I just think we're being given misinterpreted information as we tell this story. When looking at how Caleb and Philip look, they don't look at all alike, and we do get the information that they were orphans when they showed up in this town. There's a part of me that wonders if they are also a found family. They're not related by blood. They don't look the same. Their noses are different. Their hair is different. Their eyes are different. I can't help but wonder, and it would be an interesting kind of dark twist on found families if this was a found family that wasn't healthy, trusting Bellows when he shows up with scary blue eyes, as we've seen in the paintings in Hollow Mind, was Caleb's ultimate downfall. There's a part of me that wonders that. Either way, either it parallels Lilith and Ida being sisters that eventually made up and see eye to eye and share their pain, literally and figuratively, or it's a parallel to Loose King, Ida, Lilith, Hootie, Hunter, Gus, everybody. It's a found family that misused and took advantage of that trust. I want these answers a lot. I know there's a missing ingredient in the story, and I can't wait for it. And my brain goes anywhere from this is a found family gone wrong, or Hootie is their love child because Caleb tried to make a palisman out of a palisman tree and it turned into Hootie, and then Hootie was the way that they were able to store magic and portals, and that's why there's an owl house and a human house, because they've been traveling back and forth. They had 2 rental properties in this economy? You betcha. My brain goes in so many different directions thinking about Philip, Caleb, and now Evelyn. I hope it is right as well, because I love the idea, like I said in my previous video, of the brothers showing up in this town and they're like, oh, we're a bunch of witch hunters. There's trials going on and everything. Cool. To fit in this town, we will hunt witches as well. And then they happen to stumble on an actual witch while everyone's, trying to scare everyone into following the church and doing as I say and grabbing power through fear mongering, as well as taking advantage of women's lack of social status, because this is the one time that girls and women were being heard, was when they were claiming to accuse other people of witchcraft. There's a whole lot of stuff about the witch trials. I could go on forever and make a whole separate rambly video about it. While all that is going on, the irony of meeting an actual witch and being actually seduced by the beauty of magic, I think there's something really interesting about that. Something that this show does amazingly well, with Gus pointing out, no, it's actually the yelly dude who's evil. Maybe the person trying to kill people in the town is the one working out of the common good. Just me. But I also get access to penicillin, so suck it, witch trials. I can't fully believe in the Wittebane story yet. And until something is confirmed, I'm just gonna leave it be. Maybe it's the way people phrase it, because it's like, this makes Hunter a Clawthorn. Being blood related does not make you a Clawthorn. So maybe it's just the way the internet words it for me sometimes, where it's like, this proves that Hunter is a Clawthorn, and it's like, he always has been. As soon as he enters the Bad Girls Coven, everyone's a Clawthorn. As soon as you switch flights in Dallas, you're a Clawthorn. That's just me. The history of the Clawthorns is still the most mysterious. It's been mentioned that the tower belonged to Ida's dad. He didn't mention anything about the Owl House. Why was the portal door buried in kind of their backyard off to the side next to an archway that looks suspiciously like the archway that's in the Gravesfield Cemetery, which, by the way, is where Luce's dad is buried. Or at least that's where they meet. I rewatched Reaching Out for this video. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I rewatched Ida's talk with her dad, realizing that Bellows and Ida's parallels have continued now, because guess who also has severely scarred a member of their family? However, this person did it by accident. All these theories are put next to things like still no Lumity Beach Day. Love the earring look. I'm bummed he hasn't used it. It's got to come back again. He does say, hey, Bellos, remember me? Meaning he has spent time in that mental timeout place. I want to see that scene really bad because they still are taking their time with the characters, which I love. They even added an Azura character. We start to see again how Luce is grappling with her role in this story. And now she's no longer associating herself with Azura. She now sees herself as Lucy, the evil character who betrayed everybody, which makes me want there has to be more to that story. But she has the scar, the same hair, and she even wears the Hexide multi-course tights, kind of. The staff looks like an evil egg. Again, very important in showing us how necessital stories are to help people rationalize, think about things, perceive themselves, or think or consider others, reaffirming those who relate to characters, taking things seriously, tying into the end of the episode. Camila takes a big step forward in acknowledging fantasy, cosplay, being a part of this story, choosing to be a bigger part in Luz's life. It's Luz seeing herself as a good witch Azura, again. It's just that next step forward, and I love and treasure the revelation that Azura entered Luce's life because of her dad. Anything now looking back from Luce wanting to be an author and being a kid and already having her about the author photo, also illustrating all these different career paths she could have if she does get encouraged into her artistic interests, everything down to even when she first got the books in her video diaries. This is the worst week of her life, presumably when her father passed. Her room is empty, still and full of boxes. They just moved. That's a really tragic detail. All that's in her closet is a black dress and black shoes, and she's just miserable. But Dad left me this book. And then cut to, she finished the book. All the boxes are gone. Her stuff is put away. She has posters on the wall. I love it. I love it. I love it. She's found something to focus on, presumably given her age, also gives her mom energy to help her unbox things and start to move into this house despite what's just happened and all the pain and devastation there. She's also starting to draw, and the much needed levity of, I'm gonna cut my hair, that was a mistake, or that was a bad idea. Not only does she have a PG version of the same Resident Evil 4 poster I had in my room growing up, she's also been drawing, and something I've mentioned since my very first Owl House video. Not only is that a useful skill, I don't know if you know this, but the Owl House is just a lot of drawings moving. Not only is that a potentially useful skill to have in reality, but that's also how she was able to draw glyphs so well. Just like how she mentions, I am applying myself. My baseball stitches are so small, they're practically invisible. She's also been practicing drawing, and that's going to be how she connects with magic. That's going to be how she saves the world, discovers herself, meets Amity, meets Ida, meets King. It's all centered around the Azura books, and the Azura books are given by her dad. So now when you look back on this story as a whole, his, we'll say spirit, whatever you want to call it, the impression he's left, you can feel it throughout the whole show, and it all just becomes just like how the devastation, the hardships in our life are an element in becoming who we are, the positives in our life too. And I love how those two things blend so beautifully together. Getting into the Azura books because of her dad is what led her to the Boiling Isles, helped her succeed at magic, helped her connect with Amity, her awesome girlfriend. You can kind of feel his presence everywhere, and I love how complicated that is. Ironically, I'm about to hit my reaching out day, and I am not doing well, and this show has helped me. Even just saying, oh, it's my reaching out day, and people just understanding it, I don't need to get into it, that already helps so much. So thank you to everyone who's worked on this show. Don't look at me. Have you seen the Hootie Hole Theory? That's all I want to know. Please don't look at me. The wonderful diversity in being a human being, the representation on screen. There's so many things to be so grateful for, and it never stops creating more avenues for someone to see themselves, to see somebody else. It's beautiful. And then to also take the time in your final episodes, not to be so dramatic, but I wrote, your dying breath, taking that time in your final episodes even to explore the importance of storytelling. Hunter wanting to know what happens to the clone also has this bit of a meta commentary in it on when you have certain characters or different, I guess, situations or types of people, there's a responsibility there. What happens to this character? Kind of takes on the lens of growing up in a world where any type of queer media or representation was usually met with tragedy, if it was there at all, or a caricature, or the butt of a joke. I know I talked about it in my first video, but did they write Galactic Frontiers thinking I'm a clone, this will help other clones? No, they just wrote in a clone. Does it make it any less valid that it helped Hunter and he saw himself in that character? No, that doesn't make it any less valid. Suddenly, Luce's dad has become such a big character without needing to have him show up as a ghost. I love taking a moment to acknowledge that kind of impact someone can have even if they're not in your life anymore. One of the many, many, many reasons why I love the show. I do have one bit of confusion that I do want to bring up and see what people might say in the comments or something. By no means do I want this to sound like Camila should have been over it by now. Luce says before she's about to go do her book report in episode 1 that will lead this whole thing on its journey. She says mom hasn't been the same since the funeral, and I'm wondering how long ago that was now. Why does that feel like it was recent? It did kind of throw me off a little bit and send me down this morbid trajectory of, did somebody else in this family pass? And then I start wondering about the bunk bed, and that's where that thought ends. I'm not gonna delve any further. Again, I want to reaffirm that there is no timeline on grief. The verbiage of that threw me through a loop as I'm trying to piece together a timeline. Ah, yes, Hunter's eyes. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Blue Eye Hunter, the Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Red Eyes Black Dragon versions of Hunter. We have Red Eyes Hunter from being a Grimwalker, but then his eyes turn brown once Flapjack sacrifices himself after being punctured by Bellows. Evelyn, I almost said Edelyn, calls him Evelyn. He does it out of cold blood too. He didn't need the Mountain Dew Slurpee moment. He didn't need to pour it into his eyes. He didn't need to put it on his hot dog. He just did it to be a petty little. Flapjack's in his final moments. There's still that 1% chance that Flapjack's gonna be okay. In doing so, though, Hunter's red Grimwalker eyes have turned brown. Oh yeah, and Bellows also says souls, which he's only said like 1 or 2 times before when he still had to like make his own masks. Crafty Bellows, DIY Bellows, Bellows DIY. I also wonder why Bellows says, Caleb, you would stab me in the back. He could just be calling Hunter Caleb, but he's never made that mistake before. The only time he's ever said Caleb is when he sees Flapjack. Maybe that's who Bellows sees when he looks at Flapjack. That's his way of insulting him, maybe. Or if they carved him together, it could just be a slight at their relationship. Maybe it's just his way of insulting Flapjack by invoking their names. He did it with Caleb and now Evelyn. We don't know how Palismen work. We also don't know how Grimwalkers really. There could be a piece of Caleb inside of Hunter. It could just be the memories of it all. Yeah, they're red when he throws the vial, which is suspicious as hell. They are red, so it wasn't something that happened before that. It was directly, because now they're blue, and he's like, no, the precious. Those are pretty red. Yeah, they're still red. It is Flapjack that changes his eyes. There was a part of me that's like, maybe they changed earlier. He could be a part of him. I understand what people mean when they say, oh, it's like Hollow Mind. Oh, it's like Bellows. No, it is not. Those are incredibly different situations. Another big difference between Goop Bellows and Hunter Flapjack is the inclusion of literally light. Whether it's direct or indirect, Flapjack takes the form of balls of light that look a lot like light glyphs. However, Philip/Bellows did not have access to the light glyph when he started cracking open cans of Palisman Mountain Dew. You might be able to see him in his mind palace. I don't think he speaks directly to Hunter like a separate entity. I do think he got to say goodbye. Cured isn't the right word. I think doing this kind of changed or altered the Grimwalker status of Hunter. I'd love to see, not so much he can do magic, but he could still do the Flapjack glowy burst thing. But I also don't. The most concrete thought I can have on that is I think that this is what prevents Bellows from taking over Hunter again in the future. His conflicted feelings being absolute now, I think that's what protects him from Bellows, but I also think part of Flapjack's sacrifice, it will kind of shield him from being taken over by Bellows again. I personally find it a little more satisfying to picture more characters using glyphs like Lilith and Ida. I like that it's different. I like that it's artistic. It's a different path. To quote this episode, drawing won't help you on your SATs. Like, whether you use it professionally or not, it's a skill set. I also wonder if the collector has the ability to cut everyone off from their magic since they were the ones who knew about the draining spell. I can see a world where he terraformed everything to where glyphs won't work, but that would be kind of a bummer. I'd rather see a world where everyone used glyphs more, especially because we've seen Gus, Amity, Hunters even use glyphs in the past in Hollow Mind. I want to see more of that. That feels more satisfying to me. That's just me. I trust them. I'm not important. I love seeing the new conviction here. Hunter determined to fight back for Flapjack. Luce having a moment where she needs to be reminded that she still does amazing and good things consistently, despite the times she's made a mistake or a misstep. Camila, who promised me you'll never go back there, promise me please, is now like, let's go. Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. As opposed to a fading Luce and a desperate Camila in the rain. Now here she is determined, standing in front of the portal, finding a path forward and supporting everybody. Just as Hunter is also ready and determined for Flapjack, and also reassuring Luce, if it wasn't you, it would have been someone else. And we're lucky that you will fight. And it also does harken back to, there is no chosen one. This could have happened to anybody. If it didn't happen to you, it would have happened to someone else. What makes you special is who you are choosing to be. The fact that you won't give up. The fact that you do advocate for people. Amity doesn't love you because you never helped Bellows. Your friends aren't your friends because you've never made a mistake. Nobody's done growing here. We're not done yet. Speaking of her mom, what if she gets the snake palisman? Let's carve a little notch into that baseball bat, huh? She needs a weapon upgrade, I think. That would be super cool. Or the octopus. Just a thought. I don't know. I'm also stressed out, but it's happened to me several times to where I'll kind of just let it go. I really wish we would establish more. Everyone has their palisman. Luce has the egg. Everyone has their stuff. Unless it's in her fanny pack, nobody else has a bag. Like, I'll let it go. I willingly let this thought go. Can someone have a bag? It's fine. If the egg's not with her, V's gonna have to ship it to her, and that'll be a nice V's not gone forever. But that also kind of compromises that really kind of beautiful element of V's boundaries being respected, I think are also very important, because I like seeing how everyone is facing their fears. I also appreciate that there's a character who's still working through this and processing it. V's seen some stuff. I also like kind of leaving that door open for like, it's okay to take your time. Not everyone's gonna be ready as soon as someone goes, inspirational thing? I can't imagine that's the case, seeing as how V was like, oh no, the car keys. I'm just gonna assume that it's there. I'm willing to accept that it's a me thing. I would really like to know that the egg is there. It's fine. There's so much endless possibility, but the one thing we can kind of rest our minds back on is everyone has taken a step forward. Everyone is in a better place than the end of King's Tide. Not a perfect place, but a better place. And Luce's mom is trying to she's gonna glyph. Everyone glyphs by the end of this. Look at the way she looks at her. Oh, and V hanging out with Masha. Why? Why would you do that? Never mind all the nice things I said. I just realized, thanks to the credit moment, Hunter's hair came back? Ew, Bellows grew out his hair. I think Bellows tries to keep the Golden Guards under a certain age. I also think that they're destined to grow up, grow wise, and betray him. It's not like they all tripped and fell or slipped on a banana peel. Something that was also pointed out by Elijah, aka Not So Average Fangirl, when I was on the Old School Lane podcast, link in the description with her and Morgan Terry. Maybe Bellows was keeping Hunter looking like Caleb as a front to make people think that everything was okay when he returned. You can't come back with one less brother. I think there's something to that level of control. He needs to look a certain way. He can't age past a certain point. Bellows only wants to remember Caleb when they were both on the same page, both witch hunters. A very conditional love. He also has never said brother. Everyone has said brother but Bellows. He said a friend. And like, look how scared he is. Oh, my little sweet boy. Is it when the horns come out? Oh, yep. The hair comes back when the horns come in. Ew. Don't like that. I didn't notice that until just now, because it does raise a lot of questions. Why does he have witch ears even though he's supposed to look like Caleb? Maybe that's a side effect of the magic. I like Bellows Hunter's design. It's both a combination of how Bellows wishes Hunter or Caleb would be, but it also kind of shows you this warped reality where Hunter never got Flapjack. He would just be another witch hunter. He would be helping Bellows. He would grow into him. It's interesting. There's a lot you can say about it, and I enjoy it subtextually, because what is Bellows if not this warped amalgamation of the atrocities of humanity? I'm excited for more. I still want Camila to meet Bump the most outside of the immediate Owl family. But yeah, there you guys go. Those are my thoughts and Easter egg theory thought thingies on the Owl House Season 3, Episode 1, thanks to them. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. What are some things that we both kind of saw? What are some things that you agree with, don't agree with? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, share around. Consider going to thethirdbill.com to grab some merch or leave a donation to support more content or leave a super thanks here on this video. You can also say hi to me over on my gaming channel where I stream twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, Bill Chill Gaming. That's in the description. Speaking of the description, there's also a link there to a card that'll say to resources for social awareness and education, mental health and crisis lines, Trevor Project resources, things like that. Should you or someone you know need them. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you next time I upload or go live. Let me know if you want more Owl House stuff while we wait for the next episode. Thank you again to everyone who was a part of making this show and everyone who encourages me to make my own content about it. But yeah, hope everyone's staying safe. Be mindful of others. Wear a mask if you go out. Remember to take care of yourselves, please.